Hi, my friends. Welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, your host, and also an indie author. I'm thrilled you're joining me today for another fun interview with a passionate author. We're going to kick off this show with an exciting reading, so let's get started.
Hey everybody, my name is Margaret. I write dark fantasy, paranormal with a little bit of romance tossed in. And this lovely lady over here is making me read to you, and I apologize from the beginning. Now, I'm a writer, not a reader. I'm reading from my book, Dreams in the Dark, Chapter 1. Screams of torture and cries of agony surrounded Mpusa. From her vantage point on top of a rock formation, inside the property line in the middle of Gahana, the demoness looked out over the vast wasteland and liked what she saw. As far as the eye could see, numerous battles were taking place. Battles for food and power, and all of them to the death. The dark skies above shifted between varying shades of black, with a slight tint of red creating an eerie sight. The red grew thicker and darker by the minute, signaling the death of the demons below. As each one fell, the ground sought nourishment, inhaling the fallen essence and leaving behind a mist of red. This sight comforted Mpusa like a baby's blanket would. She was raised on death and mayhem, became its lover until nothing was left of her soul, but a dark and black void that sought only one thing: the demise of those who banished her to the depths of the hell realm in the first place.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors. Today we have the amazing Margaret, who just gave us a tease today. What is up with that?
That's my nickname.
I think so. You were not kidding. So I am so happy you're here with us, madam. So let's just jump in. Since your disclaimer, I'm not a reader, but you did amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Since you just gave us a small torturing piece and not enough to go by. So what do we got?
Yep, pretty much.
Give us a little background on the book. What is it about?
Okay. So this is Dreams in the Dark. It's actually the third book in the series, but my series are all standalones. It's a story about Mpusa, who you actually find out about in first book, Endless Nightmare, which is just pretty much her origin story. So this demon sent to the hell realm of Gahana, which is the demon hell realm, and it is filled with the most dangerous and most wanted demons in any realm ever. So she was shipped there when she was 8 to hide from Zeus. So she grew up there, and she wants out, and she wants to kill everybody who put her in there, including her mother. Dreams in the Dark is about her getting out and causing havoc on the human world. And the reason I say I don't really write romance is because, most of the time when couples get together, it's sweet. Well, she manipulates the guy in this book to get her out. That's how their relationship starts. Pure manipulation.
You said dark from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I can see the darkness, dark fantasy. Explain that to us.
To me, dark means anything. It's got a lot of death. It's got a lot of dark humor. It's actually a physically dark book. There's technically not a lot of light. So when I read something and I see just kind of gloomy, that also brings dark to me. My dark does not mean that anybody's falling in love with like their bully or their rapist or their capturer. That's not dark romance to me at all. My heroine in this, she's not a heroine. She is all about herself. She will always be all about herself, and she will do whatever she has to do to make herself happy. And with the fantasy, it's about demons. It's about other worlds, because you have a different dimension before you come to the earth, because the second half of the book takes place in Savannah. But there is definitely a lot of warring and fighting and death.
The combination is exciting. You have all these different dimensions to it. That is so much fun. So you have multiple genres. You got the fantasy, the paranormal, all intertwined. You also have a lot of action and adventure.
Yes, I do like action in my books. I'm not good with fluff. For those who don't know, I also write with Stella Price. We write together, and I had to write my first date scene with her. Like the first book we wrote together, and I'm like, I don't know how to write a date scene. I've never read a date scene. Like my books, if two characters are together, they're usually like battling something. That's kind of their first date. Those were always like surprises to me. In my books, you don't have normal dating.
Usually when you have that much battle, normal dating doesn't come across.
Yeah, definitely a different kind of romance.
I can relate with you. Because everybody asks me, why can't you send Isis on a date? And I'm like, oh, well, okay. They don't turn out well for her. I completely can relate to this. You're talking my language. I'm like, I understand. Doesn't need explanation.
It was the hardest thing I ever wrote. It was my first date scene. They went to dinner. I'm like, they just sit there and talk, and they just talk.
So you have an interesting background. You have this combination of you are a solo writer as well as part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
How does that world work? How did you decide that I'm going to do this partnership, and how does this happen?
Me and Stella have the same editor, Shelley Peeler. She told us we needed to write together because she edits both her books. She's like, you guys would do well working together. Me and Stella didn't even really know each other. I knew of her because I've been to her conventions, but we didn't really know each other. So Shelley's like, do it. And we both trust Shelley a lot. And I think we're 30 plus books later in the last 3 years.
That says a lot about your editor, and it says a lot about your trust. Because I don't know if I can just commit to meet somebody's like, you should work together. Like, ooh, we need to talk about this.
Yeah, well, it took a couple months. You know, we kind of talked to each other back and forth a little bit before we started on our first book.
How do you start working on a book with a partner? How does that work? Because I'm trying to physically visualize who's typing this, who's not typing. How does that work?
Everybody does it different when they work with a partner. Me and Stella actually do it like role play. I have my characters, she has her characters, and we type live. We are doing it at the same time. So I do my part, send it to her, she responds back. We don't write each other's characters. If it's in my character's point of view, I'll write most of the descriptions and stuff within it. And if it's in her character's point of view, that particular chapter, she'll write hers. But it makes it easier for me because, you've got that back and forth. It's very organic. I don't know what her character's going to say. Things can go, we've had books just take control. We're just like, okay, we're just writing now. We have no control over what's going on.
Oh my God, this is truly real life happening on the page.
Yes.
Because you can write something that she has no idea where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa.
She throws things at me. I'm like, oh, I know this. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get me out of my comfort zone. All right, we got this. It's a lot of fun, though. When people ask, how the heck do you put a book out a month? Well, because it's really easy to get like 3,000 words done in 2 hours. It's real easy when you're just going back and forth.
Absolutely. You're literally having a conversation on a page.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The 3 years, you guys know each other's speed and rhythm, so this flows very quickly.
Yeah.
And you are putting out a book a month. You said that and I had to stop and say, what?
Yeah, we put out a book a month.
Oh my Lord. And you still do your own books.
Sometimes I'm kind of behind on mine. I'm starting back up. I released my last one last year, but that one took me 2 years to get out because I was writing about a married couple, and I'm never writing about a married couple again because they were stubborn as heck to write about.
Yeah, that would definitely take a while.
That book took me 2 years to write. But I'm actually starting on my next book because after LLS, I decided I'm going to go ahead and continue with the series. So I wasn't sure if I was going to. It was stressing me out. I started up again. Well, I decided I'm no longer going to focus on the romance. If it happens, it happens, but I'm not going to stress about it. Back into it. Starting tomorrow.
Start tomorrow. So tell me, when you started writing your books, which I know you and Stella have a different genre for your books themselves, who's your target audience?
I don't think I actually had one. Because when I started writing because I used to role play. I used to do online RP, and my Anfusa character was actually one of my role playing characters. And she was incredibly popular, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to write books around her. They'd either love her or hate her and not understand why I would write a character like her. So I think my target audience is anybody who's kind of got a brain like mine, who wants something a little different. It doesn't necessarily want this sweet heroine. You want somebody a little different, a little selfish.
There's a twist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the mythology in it, by the way.
I love a good mythology, and I put all of them in there.
You had me hooked. I was like, Seuss, can we talk about it? Wait, what happened?
Oh, he's my bad guy. Oh, he's a bad guy in the books. He's a jerk.
Is Seuss technically ever a good guy in anybody's books?
I don't think so. She's an actual demon in Greek mythology. When I was studying up her and got such a storyline from it because her mother is Hecate, the Greek goddess, and also Mormo, who is a female specter. She's the original ghost. So she actually has 2 moms. But, mythology, they can do anything they want.
Yes, they can. And nobody asks any questions. Nobody's questioning this. They're like, oh, okay, I guess it happens. Okay.
Yeah, but I got Welsh, I got Egyptian, I got Germanic, Norse, all in there because it's kind of all happened at the same time. Like they all know each other.
What made you decide to pick mythology as part of the backstory to your books?
I love all mythology. I've always been obsessed with mythology. Being able to kind of put my twist on what I see and read, it's always fun for me. I like taking actual events or actual people and then twisting them, making my own.
That is exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm a research girl, so.
So I was going to ask you, how much research are you doing for your books?
I do a lot of research, but that's my favorite part about writing, so I'm weird. I love research. I've tried to name a character that's in my books, and I got down a rabbit hole. I was looking for a name and ended up reading about Viking history for 5 hours. So
Oh yeah, you definitely
Yeah,
go down rabbit holes.
I go down rabbit holes.
I like the combination because I am a mythology kind of girl. The crossing over the mythology, I find that very interesting. What made you decide to do that? Because that's definitely unique.
Yeah, I mean, and I even created the Titan gods. One of my main characters, she's the Titan goddess of rebirth, which is, let me tell you, not easy to research as Titans. So I figured nobody can get at me because I made it up.
You get some leeway.
Truthfully, I have favorites in every mythology. And I always figured, they're probably actually the exact same gods anyway. Each region kind of saw them as something else. Like, I don't have two the same gods, and I don't do Roman gods. They bore me. But like, I think the only gods that I have that kind of would overlap are my underworld gods, because there's so many different underworlds that I do have multiple underworld gods within my books.
I like the layers. I'm telling you, mythology is my thing.
Yeah, and with so many different realms, you can have all of them working at the same time.
It is so much fun. And most people don't go down that area. It's just because it can be very tricky.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have the goddess Hel from Norse mythology and Satan, Lucifer from Christianity, actually have children together in my books. Because I thought that would be like the coolest combination of a couple.
Just dying over here. I'm like, okay. So we're going to go from mythology, and then we're just going to twist it a little and give you a little religion and see if you're ready for this.
Yeah, I researched Christianity too, because Bjor is one of my characters. He runs Gehenna, the demon hell realm, and he's actually a fallen angel historically. I mean, if you look at most of my character names, they're historical characters that I just twist around a little bit. That's why my names in my books are so weird.
I'm giggling on the inside. I was like, that is devious and so mean all at once. I was like, because you give me enough I need to do some research, but not enough to be like, okay, I'm giving up because I don't know what you did to this person, but okay.
Yeah, most of them you won't even know are historical. You'd have to look them up.
That's why I'm going, man, this is a test of just completely put aside history and just enjoy the book because it's going to take you for a ride.
But then if you decide later to look at the history, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I even understand that character more.
This is the lesson and entertainment all in one.
My mother was a teacher, it's her fault.
So you're teaching in parables with some underground twist in here. Okay. Right. I need to keep an eye on you. Tell us, Miss Kay, how long have you been writing?
I started writing in my mid-20s, early to mid-20s. I was actually a verbal storyteller before I started writing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Then I started RPing, and I'm like, I'm not that bad at this. Because my sister and my brother and my mother and my dad, I mean, they're all amazing writers. My sister's incredible. I mean, I'm pretty good at verbally telling a story because I would do it with my friends. We would just sit around at coffee shops and tell stories, like actually make up stories.
Oh,
that's how it started.
That is so much fun.
Yes, I miss those days.
Has transitioned from going from spoken word, which has a whole different magic, to bringing it to the page. How did that feel for you?
It was difficult. And I went through a lot of bumps with my writing starting. Luckily, I didn't just try to publish as soon as I decided to start writing, just because description while writing is so much harder than description while talking. Because I can talk something, but it's so different from when you verbalize and then when you put it on paper. It's like a totally different part of your brain, I think. It might not be, but
there's also the tones that we have when we speak. So that creates that extra layer of visual line for the listener.
So now you've got to figure out the words to use to put it on paper so people can read that. Yeah, that's hard.
Ooh, that's a different transition.
Yeah, it's still difficult for me. I'm like, does this read blandly? I mean, are they getting it? I always tell my editors and my beta, I'm like, okay, there's things going on in my head that I might forget to put on paper. So you like let me know if something's missing here, because it's all in my head. It's there, but I forget to put it from one place to the other sometimes.
Is your mind going faster than you're typing?
Always. It's been like that since I was a kid too.
That is awesome. Usually they'll laugh at me. It's like, can you type as fast as you talk? I was like, no, not even close. What motivated you to start writing?
My best friend, she always told me, since she was the one we would tell stories with, and I'd end up taking over all of them. So she's like, you should start writing them. She's like, you need to write them down. Because I mean, me and her wrote a book pretty much, talking about one story. She's like, you need to write that book. I haven't written that book yet, but I've written other ones.
I was going to ask you if you wrote the book. You're like,
I haven't written contemporary yet. So when I write contemporary, I'll write that book.
Where do your ideas come from? Where this inspiration hits you?
Usually when I'm driving and the music's going. Now, it does not matter what song's playing. The song might have absolutely nothing to do with what I'm come up with an idea. One of my favorite fight scenes, I was listening to a Whitney Houston song, and the idea just, yeah, exactly. So it has nothing to do with the music I'm listening to. It's just the music gets my, head going.
I'm going through every Whitney song that I know, and I'm like, nope, not fight
No,
scene.
none of them. It was like one of her 80s, like really poppy ones too. I have no idea why the fight scene came to my head, but it did, and it still makes me laugh to this day. Random music. My first book was almost based on one song that I heard.
I like the trigger.
Got the wheels going. I work from home now, so I'm never in my car, so I've got to like come up with another way to get ideas flowing.
I would say walk around the block and put some music on. That might get you inspired. Do some movement
I used to
going
be
on.
in my car for 4 hours a day in traffic, so it was really easy to listen to a lot of music and get ideas.
So how long have you been published?
I published in, I think it was 2014 was when I published my first book.
What has changed in the industry since you started till now? Because things have evolved, things have changed. What have you seen?
There's more saturation. There's just more stuff out there. And I mean, I don't say this to be rude, but just because you think you can write doesn't mean you should be. And I think a lot of people are writing now and putting it out. There's no thought to the editing or the covers or formatting. Everybody's just putting stuff out. Right now it's hard because of the saturation. To me, that's why we've got a readership. And with me, I don't really pay much attention to it. Like, I don't pay attention to really what's going on in the industry because I just want to write my books and put them out. And if somebody likes it, then somebody likes it.
You have a very specific target audience in terms of do you connect with these books? And that's what you're aiming for. And your readers do.
And I've always said, as long as one person, when I started writing, I said, I just want one person to get something out of my writing. And that's the only thing I ever accomplished, then that's fine with me. I've had readers who have connected with my characters. I mean, I had 2 goals, and that was one of them, and I'm good.
What was the other goal?
I wanted somebody to throw my book across the room because they were so pissed. And they did. I got that too. I know, it's the craziest thing, but I've done that for an author. Like, I read their book, and I got to the end, and I was so mad I wanted more that I tossed the book across the room. I want somebody to be that deep into my book where they get that mad.
That's an awesome goal.
Yeah, and somebody did it. Like, when somebody told me they did it, I said, I retire, I don't have to write anymore.
That is an awesome goal.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I need to remember. So let's turn it a little bit more towards you. I'm going to switch a little bit from your work into what does Kay love to read? What is your favorite book right now?
Well, my favorite book ever is The Secret Garden. Ever.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
And it was like one of the first books that I think I read that I enjoyed. Just always kind of had that special place because I wasn't a reader. I hated reading. I hated reading until I had my daughter, and I had so much time on my hands, I just started reading all the time.
What?
Yeah. I did not even really start reading until I was 20.
Oh, wow. This is a huge transition.
Yeah. And then I pretty much just read. And I'm a rereader, so I'm sure there's like a lot of books I need to read that I read the same book like 10 times.
Really?
Yeah, I'll reread series over and over and over again. And then when I get to my favorite book in the series, I'll usually read it like 2 times in a row.
I have not met many rereaders, so I am so fascinated by this.
Yeah,
this is pretty cool.
Total rereader. It's my favorite thing. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I've got 4 series. Yeah, 4 series that I will reread all the time. And they never get boring to me.
That is amazing. I like the fact that you never get bored with them. That's even better.
Yeah, I'm always excited to read them again. Like, I get excited that I get to read that book again. It's kind of like people with their favorite movie, I guess.
I do that with series.
Yeah. In most movies, I don't want to watch again. But with books, I'll reread them and reread them.
I'm going to have to rethink this plan in my life. I was like, that is pretty good. Do you have an author that has inspired you, that you have read their books and be like, wow?
Suzanne Brockman. She's my author hero. I've never read anybody who can put the present and the past and then put them together in a book that flows so flawlessly. She's amazing. And I actually had a fangirl moment with her on Twitter once. I replied to one of my tweets. I'm like, okay, y'all can have your movie stars. I just have to send Brockman tweeting.
I realize readers and authors are the only people that go fan crazy over other authors.
I know we do, though.
I had an opportunity to meet Charlene Harris, and I literally changed colors the whole 9 yards. You thought I was just meeting Brad Pitt. People like, what happened? I was like, oh my God.
I understand.
Readers and authors have that opportunity of just making these connections, and you meet the people that create these worlds that you're just like, I just love you. You're like, really? You say, yeah, I'm just confessing my love to you, just letting you know. I would like to say, what are you working on now? But you have a book a month. This could be anything. Who came up with this schedule?
Oh, it wasn't me. I totally blame this schedule on Stella. I call her my slave driver. Are you kidding me? And I work full time, so it's a lot of fun.
When do you sleep?
We usually write between 5:30 and 9:30 every night.
Okay.
You know, I walk across to my office in my apartment, so I have a 2-second commute to work. I don't start work till 8:30, so when we stop writing at 9:30, it still gives me time to unwind. And then we don't usually write on weekends. We do 5 days a week. And on Fridays, we'll write a little later if we can.
How long does it take you guys to finish a book?
We usually get it done in 3 weeks.
Nice.
Sometimes. We've had a couple books where the characters completely take over, and we'll write the weekends because we have to write it. We have to write it. I think our longest book, which was like 92,000 words, I think we wrote that in 3 weeks because those suckers would not stop talking. That was the second book we wrote together too.
That is one big collaboration. Mm-hmm. Normally, how long are your books?
With the RH series, our first book in the series is usually about 40,000 words. Then everyone after, it's usually between 65 and 75.
What is RH?
As reverse harem.
Many people might not be familiar with this one. What is it? Tell us about it, because I just recently learned about it.
I didn't know about it until I started writing it, so.
Okay, good. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Reverse harem is when you have the main character is a female, and she'll have a guard or a harem or whatever the author feels like of multiple men or women, because we actually have women in our guards as well, that do something to support that hero. So basically, she doesn't have one love interest. She's got multiple love interests, and everybody's okay with it. So we put ours in a fantasy setting, so it's a little bit easier to navigate, because I don't know if I could read one that's in like a normal contemporary setting. That's me. That's like nothing bad about it. I just be like, one guy's like too much for me, so I don't know if that would work.
This is one of those hot genres out there that everybody's talking about it. And you talked about saturation in the market. Mm-hmm. Every single group you listen to authors is like, you know, you need to write reverse harem because that's what's selling.
Me and Stella don't write for market. Like, that's one thing we won't do. We started this series kind of actually just as a, you know, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes. We were just going to write the 4-book series. It was going to be done after Verity's book. We are on our 7th series within the world right now, and we've already got the plans for the next extension from that. It's been a lot of fun for us because ours is a little bit different, I want to say, than those reverse harems. We have harems that, you know, have men and women. We have harems that she has men that she cannot be intimate with. We've got an asexual demon. We've got a golem who just looks like a Ken doll. Well, when she was 5, she made him out of sand, so she didn't know to give him extra parts. So he doesn't have extra parts.
Oops, nobody telling me they came with more stuff. My bad.
She didn't know. She's 5. She's like, he's got a great bum, though, so that's all that matters.
It works. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, ours is a lot of adventure. And our books is one reason me and Stella write so well together, kind of like how I do the mythology and stuff. We do that together, and we also throw in a lot of historical places that we kind of twist. We both really like Ancient Aliens, a TV show that inspires us a lot. We see different shows and stuff. We're like, oh, we can do something with that.
That's pretty fun. I think I'm with you. I like the concept of fantasy for this genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's more you can do with it. Just for me, writing fantasy and paranormal is so much easier just because I have less rules and I could make up my own rules.
It gives you a lot more freedom. There's a lot more leeway everywhere. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I can be wrong and nobody can tell me I'm wrong because it was my world.
I think my brother had to remind me of that once. He's like, do you think I could do that? He goes, technically it's your world. I think you can do that. I was like,
that's right. You can do whatever you want. It's your world.
I completely forgot. I was like, you have a point. We're doing this. He's like, glad I could give you permission. So tell me, darling, as an author who has different collaborations, you have projects going on, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming author?
I think it's probably one of the things that's always said, but just keep writing. It might take you 5 years to get your first book out. Who cares? You can't be too old to start writing. You know, there's not an age limit. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm 40. I can no longer start writing and I can't write about this or that. It doesn't matter. Just write. Write what makes you happy. Don't worry so much about what's going to make everybody else happy. Because if you're just writing for other people, it's going to tell in your work. Because you can tell an author's heart when you read their books. You can tell which books they liked and which ones they didn't like. So just write because you want to.
You and Stella have an amazing collaboration in terms of building a community. And that's something that I have admired tremendously. You guys have a following that is almost cult-like. Let's be honest about this. If you have a cult following in the authors community, you guys have it. And you spend a lot of time nurturing this community. How do you guys do it? How do you continue to have your readers fall in love all the time and still follow, regardless of what genre you pick?
Well, they're our family. Like, they're not even our readers anymore. That's our family. You know, and it's not having a Facebook group that has like thousands or hundreds or whatever. We keep it those readers that we know really do support us. And we're really good to them too. We like sending stuff. Me and Stella love giving stuff away. Like, we have fun giving stuff away. And they are our family, and we treat them like they're our family. My first reader that I ever had for my first book, she's still with me. She's, you know, part of that group. And the fun part about our readers is they become a family with each other. They all end up becoming friends, whether or not they knew each other when they started. And so it just kind of like grows, just people that you trust and admire, because we appreciate them probably more than they appreciate our books. Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be writing.
It is a beautiful community, and going to Savannah, going to the convention and seeing the passion and how much they defended it. I was like, I haven't said anything. I was just standing here.
I love them. Crazy, and I love them.
It was beautiful and it was powerful, but it was a connection of just not the books, but you guys have the merchandise. They were like, I'm wearing her clothes. And I was like, there's clothes. What clothes are we talking about? Where did that come from?
Well, Stella, she knows how to market. Like, that's when she went to school for marketing and graphic design work. I mean, she knows that part of the business. And one thing that she taught me when we started writing, which was so true, and something I knew as a reader but didn't think about as an author, was we don't put our names on things. You'll never see anything with K. Margaret or Stella Price or Dagmar Avey or any of our names. They're not on our stuff. We don't want you promoting us. We want you to share in our world. So our merchandise is like the restaurants or the bars that are owned in our books, the symbols of some of our characters. That's what we do our merchandise with. So they're continuously part of our world, because we want them in our world. We don't want them sitting there trying to promote us.
That is a different concept, because most people feel I have a brand, I'm supposed to promote me as the brand instead of focusing on the world.
And with me and Stella, we're not our brand. Our books are our brand. We're not.
Completely change of take. I like it. It's a different way of looking at the business. And I think the beautiful part about it is everybody can pick how it's going to work for them.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
that open.
It's that open. The fun part is like we've got a distillery in our Blood Court books. She owns a distillery. So we do distillery. We have our logo for it. We put on hoodies. We put it on mugs. And so one day I was wearing my Blue Florida Distillery hoodie, and I'm walking down the street, and someone's like, oh, we love distilleries, where's that one at? And it opens up that conversation of course I told them it's in my head. So, but that's why we like our readers to wear that stuff. So be like, hey, that's a weird symbol, what's that mean? And then they can start talking about our books. You know, it opens up a conversation.
Usually people want to talk about books they love, and they're a lot more comfortable than just talking about the people.
Yeah.
So if you give them a book that they enjoy, they're going to talk about it and is excited.
Yeah.
I am so fascinated by this, and you guys are such an amazing duo. Love it. Your work as an individual writer, I love what you have going on. So are you ready for our next part?
All right, I think maybe.
Go into the lightning round. Easy, quick, don't think too hard on this. Let's see how you do.
All right.
Ready? Scary movie or comedy?
Comedy.
Really?
I hate scary movies. I don't watch horror.
I seriously had to blink. I was like, what? Really? Okay.
I know, weird. I read it, I don't watch it.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop. I'm like, huh, okay. Gummy bears or Sour Patch?
Sour Patch.
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Okay, so you are a winter girl, not a summer.
And I live in Florida, so it's always summer.
Okay, I'm so confused right now. I hope you realize this. I'm like, what? Okay.
I'm good at that.
So here's a fun one for you. Let's see how you do. If you can pick an animal, real or imaginary, to describe your personality, what would you pick?
Somebody to ask me this question, I actually had one. I don't remember what I said. I think it was an otter, because they look really sweet, but they're actually really vicious.
Really?
Like, otters are not actually nice little creatures.
I'm taking that off my list of things to go check out. I was like, huh, they do
I
look
think it was
really
the
sweet.
otter. It's one of those research things I randomly was doing.
Here's your last one. Kind of fun. Okay. We'll go from here. If you could be any superhero, who would you be?
I don't know if I'd pick any superheroes.
Will you pick a villain?
Venom.
Okay.
Kind of like Venom. It's like the anti-hero.
He is definitely an anti-hero. I have to give you that one.
No, I want to be Venom, not the dude that he's in. I want to be Venom.
Be specific about this.
I want to be that
guy. You want to be the other essence.
That would be the alien life form. Yes, yes.
Once again, I want to be surprised, but I'm not. So, madam, where can our readers find you?
I'm on Amazon. Of course, Amazon is not the easiest thing to navigate when you're looking for a book. Because if you put my name in, usually things don't pop up all the time.
I found out the other day because I was looking for a couple of your books and I struggled.
So if you put K Margaret, and that's just the normal K, no K-Y, and then you put Endless Nightmare, then I'll pop up. So I learned if you put like a title of a book and the author name, it'll pop up.
Any social media that we can find you as well? How do you want people to find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter sometimes, on Facebook. So my Instagram and my Twitter are the same. It's kmargaret79. And then Facebook, we have our reader group, which is our open reader group, which is the Nightmare Courts. You can find us in the Nightmare Courts on Facebook.
Well, madam, it has been an absolute pleasure. Do you have any closing remarks for us?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun, but it's always fun talking.
That's because I'm a ham. That happens.
Everybody needs a little ham in their life, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here for you. Oh, madam, it has truly been a pleasure. I am so excited you joined us.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. So please go ahead, like this, share it, tell a friend, let us know what you think, leave a review, and join us again next week for another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors, where we'll have another fabulous author. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.